Ha ha! It had gotten caught up inside this old nasty t-shirt. Well, hello, Blue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. So, today, I started working on the Hughes 500, and I wanted to use that smoke on the inside of all the clear parts because I want to give it that sort of mysterious, darkened interior look like tinted windows, but didn't want to just paint the windows black, like a drone. So at first I applied some with a brush, and it did okay, but it would pool. I figured, okay, I'm gonna have to put it on with the airbrush. And not a problem. I kind of halfway expected that, but I'm not gonna dilute it, so I'm gonna use the big Iwata. Well, while the stuff was pooling, I was kind of giving the whole acrylic clear part tree a little shake, sort of, to kind of keep the stuff spreading around while it was still in liquid form, so we didn't get just blobs in the center. And I mean, I was okay with the way it looked. Here's one that was clear and one that was smoke. You can see that it is working. But while I was giving it a little flick, I heard tink and it was the back window broke and shot off. And I wasn't even flicking it that hard, so apparently it wasn't being held on very well. And I knew it went in the wastebasket. And I was like, great, I gotta go digging for that. But we had a lot of things going on today, so I couldn't just stop and do that. I had other stuff to do. So finally, I go look in the trash. I can't see it. I can't find it. So I'm like, great, I'm gonna have to sift through the trash can. So on with the latex gloves, and here we go. And I'm transferring, and I went through it 3 times before this happened. Ha ha! I had pulled the t-shirt out and felt it and just missed it. It had stuck, and even though it was getting the third time I picked it up and plink. So what you just saw was actually a reenactment, but it was so important. But the thing was, I was like, you know what, I could just, since I'm kit bashing this thing, I can do anything I want. I can hang a weapon out the window. I don't really have to have the window. I can just cut a piece of clear, and glue it in there. Because I spent quite a bit of time looking for this, but at this point, it just became I was getting like, Con, he tasks me. Nope. The styrene river, it mocks me. It became a point of pride. The thing is, this thing's bigger than my thumb. I mean, it's a pretty good sized piece. How could it be so hard to find? Anyway, so eventually I found it and got on with it. Now, I spray painted a lot black, and I masked off most of the big bubble on front and sprayed that. And much to my surprise, despite masking it down and everything, I did everything the way you're supposed to, and I still got a fair amount of seepage under the tape. That should not have happened. It's not like I had the rattle can right up against it, but that lacquer is really thin, and I just didn't burnish it down enough. I should have probably shot it with clear lacquer first to help seal in all the little capillaries in the tape and everything, but I didn't, so maybe I did skip a step. Some people do that, some don't, but supposedly it gives you a cleaner demarcation line and closes those capillaries along the edge of the tape some, even after you burnish it down. No matter how much you burnish it, it's still just sticky paper. Liquids can find their way through. So several people said, you got to put a pilot in that thing. And I'm like, okay. So out with all the little figures that I have, start digging around, snooping around. And this just turned into a thing. I realized how disorganized they were. I would go through, sift through boxes, everything. Finally I'm done. Turn around, there's another box of them. I had like 3 or 4 boxes of figures, and in different scales. Now, one thing that kind of torqued me was, this is a 124 scale helicopter. And I thought, the Gemini astronauts, they're 124 scale. They were in spacesuits with helmets, very sci-fi. That'll look great. And you'll be able to, sort of make out their form a little bit through the smoked windows, but still be mysterious. Until I put one on there, I'm like, okay, one of these things is not like the other. There's the Gemini's 124, the helicopter's 124. Now, I've flown in the front and the back of a Hughes 500. They are tight. That is one squeeze. I mean, we're talking, the back of the thing is Messerschmitt tight, and the front of the thing is Spitfire tight. And you can sit 3 abreast up front. When the first time I rode one, we did fly 3 abreast. I was in the middle seat, and I was like, 16 years old. much thinner than I am now. And that little bugger went too. Man, that's a performing little helicopter. But they are tight inside. They are not comfortable. In fact, I think the Jacksonville police used to have Hughes 500s, the later E models. And later on, they switched over to Jet Rangers. And unlike a lot of police departments, I don't know if it's still this way, but in Jacksonville, to be the helicopter pilot for the police, you don't come in as a helicopter pilot and get sworn in and say, hey, hire me to fly the helicopter, which is the way a lot of departments do it. In Jacksonville, you have to be a patrolman and go up through the ranks and apply for the position, and they train you, which is unheard. That's why I used to see that thing coming and doing so many auto rotations, because they were training the pilots. I had no idea. That's an interesting way to do it. So anyway, they only fly VFR, because it's you can't hunt criminals in instrument conditions. So I think they give them a restricted commercial. I really don't know, but anyway, the point I'm getting at is that I expected the characters to be tight in the model, but I didn't expect them to. This is just off scale. I don't know if they got the interior dimensions wrong. Hobbycraft is not exactly known as making the most stellar accurate kits on Earth, but the helicopter may be a little small, or maybe I don't know. But anyway, the 1/32 scale, I was able to find some pilot figures. At first, I just went with the standard World War II pilot. Figured it's Knight Industries from Knight Rider, so it'll be all black, just the face. But then I found this helicopter pilot figure, and I was like, you know what, that'll make a good, even better. So I put them both in, and so there are going to be pilots in there, and they look pretty cool. And that's just the image I wanted, with that smoked look where you can just sort of make out their form. And I've got other stuff here, accoutrement. I'm going to be hacking the chopper up and doing some stuff to it, and making something that Knight Industries would make. It's going to be cool, and would go with Knight Rider. Too bad I don't have the little Cylon thing going back and forth, but this will be a crude helicopter. Well, then again, even though Kit and Car could operate without an operator, they usually did have someone inside. But I'm sorry, getting down the rabbit hole. So I'm on with the figures, and I wound up getting more and more, and I wound up with this entire, cardboard box LST full of infantry, and some have M1s and some have M14s. So some are Cold War and some are World War II. Although the equipment, except for the rifle, the equipment's just about the same. But I kind of got them organized, and then I took all the amputees out, and I felt like Frankenstein. I was chopping stuff up. I had one of those really nice. I had a couple of those really nice wingnut wings, 1/32 scale World War I aviators, but they were missing parts. I don't know where they went. It probably goes back to the shelf collapse, the great shelf collapse of 03 or 23 or whenever that was. I try not to think about it. I'm back. Insane. So I had, one of them was missing a head and an arm, and I found an arm that would fit, but I didn't have a proper sized head to put on him. So I went ahead and hacked his leg off to give to the other one that was complete minus a leg. I thought I'd just put a peg leg on him, but anyway, of course, one of the legs has a wrap, one of them has a boot, but little putty, little paint to take care of that. I also managed to salvage this one little infantry lieutenant who has literally a hand and an arm from two different characters. I had a whole bunch of right arms with no left arms, except for one that didn't have a hand. So I found one figure close to scale that was messed up. So I'll clean him up later. I don't know why. Not like I don't have enough of them. It was just something I felt like doing while I was waiting for everything to dry. And other news, I had to call Fran, one of our glue troopers, and he does a lot of those solid wood models. You see a lot of the monograms, and he gave me that USS Chicago cruiser, and I want to get on that at some point. And he was telling me all the stuff I need, so I went and got it. So I went over to the hardware store. I got the plastic wood, and I got the yellow wood glue, and I got the sanding sealer. And it's probably more I'll use in a lifetime. And of course, he says this is the best stuff to glue the wood together with. Then this basically you use like the way we use plastic putty, only for wood. And then of course, you want to put a couple of coats of this on it before you try to paint it. Also, wood will, and I actually I will start using this a lot more, and I will tell you why. The wood will drink the paint, as many of you know. And I often find cheap pieces of wood and just paint them to make diorama bases and stuff. And I wind up, even with the big cans of the heavy, single coat outdoor paint, it just drinks that stuff up. And you're like, God, another whole can, this thing drinks like I do. And this apparently will help with that, but of course you can sand it, and then of course you can recoat it too. So at first I thought, oh, I'll never use this, but I bet I do. And speaking of such things, we also have this. Marty gave this to me when we went and visited his house, did a video on that, the OSPO, because I am planning to get working on that metal Spitfire, and I'm probably going to use the medium CA glue because that's a medium that I'm familiar with, and I was wondering about how to, best way to put a metal kit together. In fact, I put the metal kit right over there. I've gone over let me show you real quick. For those of you who don't remember when I showed it before, this is a metal Spitfire kit, and this will be something different. I'm not exactly sure what the idea behind making them out of metal is versus styrene. I mean, the detail looks good on them. It's a fair amount of metal flash, which I guess I'm going to have to grind off, but we'll get into that in more detail when I do this kit. But apparently you have to wash it down with your Orpo, and apparently using like heavy duty rubber gloves. You don't want this stuff on your skin. And take it outside. I'll probably put it in the garage, or I've got another shed. I'll probably put it in another shed. You give it like 24 hours and it'll rust up. And what it does, it bites in and etches it so that it both cleans it and etches it so that now the primer and everything can go over and we can bite into it. Otherwise, you have trouble getting paint to it here. At least I think that's the reason why. But anyway, so I Frankenstein some people. I got my little Japanese and American guys sitting there, and what, a 1/16 scale, I think, and they kind of unlikely, must be a post-war get-together. Anyway, that's what we did. Played Frankenstein with some figures, got some work done, spent a bunch of days digging through the garbage, got the helicopter started, and got the materials to make the USS Chicago out of wood, the wood monogram kit. And then I've got my short stack over here, and that's that. Okay. And that's enough. Guys, take care of yourself. Talk to you later as always. Model line.
Take one.
Big friend and fan or viewer of the channel, but I mean he's a big. I got the yellow wood glue. I got the filler, and I got the what do you call? Hold on. Not remember what you call this. Sanding sealer. Let's try that again. I got the sanding sealer, and I got the glue, and I got the putty, the wood, the glue, the wood putty. It's basically the wood answer to, and it's the water soluble stuff, and it's basically the wood answer to plastic putty. So that's gonna be an outtake. Chicago, Chicago, my kind of town. Chicago, bang bang. Just for those who don't remember it, for those who are wondering, the idea behind these filters on the fan is it helps limit the amount of, cut down a little bit on the amount of dust that recirculates. And I finished the little Pan Am jet. I'm going to take it inside and put it on the little control stick now. Aha! Nope. Aha! Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Oh. Nope. Hey, what are you doing in the trash? That's still good. third time through everything, and that was the last bag.
I light a candle to the sprue tree, lay out tweezers like a shrine, whisper, please be kind tonight, then drop apart at the worst time. It vanishes into the carpet, dimension shift beneath my knees. Somewhere tiny thunders rumbling in a cloud of plastic shavings and disbelief. Of modeling live up in the rafters laughing. Every time my finger sticks, they demand another offering. Almighty ones, have mercy please, I chant in gluey misery. They sip my tears like gasoline. The cruel, cruel gods of modeling. I check the fit, it's perfect, flawless, dry run dream, a perfect C. My blink once had a drop of glue, now it gaps like a canyon in a bad dream. Decals curl like ancient scrolls, silvering like haunted glass. They wait until it's straight and centered, then slide off sideways just to watch me crash. Back with one cat hair dead center of the canopy, shimmering. Oh, the gods of modeling perched on piles of broken sprues, cackling every time I almost win. They demand another offering. Almighty ones, I get the joke. I say through paint and sanding smoke, if pain's your favorite offering, then I must be your chosen king. So I bow to the bench, resigned, glue on my hands like a wedding ring. If suffering's their sacred hymn, I'll sing. Through the gods of my